Hello everyone, and welcome to my guide for shipping collectible cards. In particular, I collect Pokemon cards, and I buy a lot of Pokemon cards. I'm a heavy hitter, and I get about 5 packages a day, and inevitably one of those packages will have a damaged card in it. It might be a raw card, it might be an already graded card, but it drives me nuts. And so for the sake of my own sanity, and perhaps yours, I'm making this video to help you understand how to ship your cards, but also if you're buying a card, you can actually share this video with the person you're buying from. So each time you buy the card on eBay or something like that, or maybe from a friend, maybe you're buying on Facebook Marketplace, whatever it is, you can share this video and tell them, hey, make sure you ship your cards this way. So let's talk about the different methods of shipping. Actually, I'll talk briefly about why I know so much about shipping. When I was 13, my father had a home business, and we shipped about 25 items a day. It was a successful home business. And guess who did all the shipping? It was me. My dad did the listing, I did the shipping. I did some listing eventually as well, but I mostly just did the shipping. So even when I was 13 to the ages of about 13 to 17, I had a lot of experience with shipping. And then I left home, started my own eBay business because I'd learned everything from my dad, and I did a bunch of shipping then. And then, while I was in college, I got a job with UPS. So I know everything. I know how the old systems for shipping work, the new systems. I know how packages are handled, essentially. They're handled very roughly. They don't care about fragile stickers, any of that stuff. So I have a lot of experience with this, and I want to make sure I pass it on to you guys so that your cards arrive in the same condition that you bought them at. Let's talk a little bit about that. So here is a raw, ungraded card. In this case, it's just a Chansey, but pretend for a moment this is a Charizard. Pretend for a moment this is a Charizard. So if you do not pack this properly, let me show you what will happen. See this little edge? It's just a piece of cardboard, right? It will have that happen to it, and now it's valueless. That's a little bit of an exaggeration. It's not valueless, but this is a damaged card. The damaged card has been bent. See that? That's a bent card. So if you do not properly ship your items, that'll happen instantly. Here's another one that could happen. Let's say something just dings it. You put a little ding at the top. See that? And now the card is no longer going to grade a 10. It's going to grade a 9. Or worse, might grade an 8. Might have both of these things on it. So check it out. People who are serious about collecting cards, they want their card to turn into this. See that little 10? Means that's a perfect card. People who are not into collecting cards are often just casually selling an old thing that they once opened as a kid, and they ship it improperly, and it shows up like this, and now the card is ruined. And let me tell you what happens. The buyer contacts eBay in the resolution center, and it says, hey, the item arrived damaged. And then you, the seller, immediately loses the case, because I've seen this many times. eBay sides immediately with the buyer, and then you pay for return shipping, and you get back a shitty card. You don't want that. So you want your card to be in perfect condition when it arrives. Happy buyer, he leaves you positive feedback, and you keep your money. How nice is that? So that's why we got to talk about this subject. It's so important. You know, the saddest part really is that you have a valuable card, and then it's just ruined. I want to show you an example. You know, even your PSA cards can get damaged. This one's graded, and it's in a protective hard case. But even this is, I'm returning this to the seller, unfortunately. Look, big crack on that side, big crack on this side. How could it happen? Oh, it's got this hard plastic sleeve. I promise you, all that happened is the package sat there, and a big heavy package fell right on it. Or the package sat there, and somebody walked on it. That's right. That's how they treat your packages in these shipping facilities. They move millions of packages in a single night. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration. You know the big semi-trucks full of packages all the way to from one end to the other, and it's probably closer to 2,500 packages per truck. And any shipping facility will move about 15 to 20 trucks a night. So anyways, they'll step on one of these, instantly cracked. You don't think of it that way in your mind. You're like, my little item's going to arrive. No, it's going to get stomped on first. A 70-pound box is going to fall on it first. That's what's really going to happen. So when we talk about protecting cards, the very first thing we have to talk about is plastic. Plastic is the name of the game with collecting Pokemon cards. This is a penny sleeve. I want to show you what a penny sleeve product looks like. It's just a really, really thin piece of plastic. Comes out of one of these. Be sure to buy some of these. I'm going to be selling these on my channel soon to make sure everyone has them. And the very first step to preserving cards is this is not optional, really. You have to grab penny sleeves and put the card in here. So when you're off selling your raw card, your ungraded card, you've got to put it into a penny sleeve. From a penny sleeve, it goes into this thing called a top loader. So this is a top loader because it loads from the top. And top loaders, you know, they offer... Oh, I gotta sneeze. How inconvenient. I'm recording and I gotta sneeze. Hold on, give me a minute. Woo. Let's see if I don't have to sneeze a second time. God, man. Okay, I'm back. You ever tried to record something you got sneezed just then? I swear to God, it's because my cat was in my lap, and I'm actually allergic to cats. So you've got your top loader, the cards in there, and what you notice is that a card can actually slide back out. See that? Look at that. So the card slid back out, and what you'll notice is as the card's sliding back out, this top edge actually becomes exposed. That's a huge deal, because if it slides out enough and it's exposed, then all this plastic was pointless. It did not actually protect the card. So most cards will arrive just like this if you use a top loader but you don't pinch it shut and tape it. You have to tape it. So penny sleeve, top loader, piece of tape. Required. Required. You've got to do this. So we pinch it shut to make sure the card can't slide forward as easily, and then we tape it shut. It's just a piece of Scotch tape, honestly. Right, so this is essential. This is the very first step to protecting a raw card from shipping. All right, so now we've got it in there. The next step is always, how do I ship it? Well, if you're selling 1, 2, maybe 3 cards, you can actually stuff it into one of these. So this is a simple letter. I got a box of these from Walmart. You should be able to buy them from Walmart. The stamps come from the actual USPS store. You can buy them online, I believe. I just go to the post office and buy them. It looks a little bit like this. Think of it like the post office's currency. So they have you convert your dollar bills into stamps, and then they don't ship your item unless you have stamps. A lot of people don't know how to use this. This is a white envelope with a stamp. There's actually an abbreviation for that because it's so common. Return address goes here. So this is your address. It'll go right here. And then the buyer's address goes here. This is where the mailman's going to take it. So buyer's address here, your address on the top left, because think of it as like less important, most important, okay? That's why it goes right in the middle. Buyer's address in the middle. So after you've put your card into this top loader with the penny sleeve, you just slide it in here, you lick the envelope shut and send it out, right? Well, there's a few downsides to shipping this way. The first one is it is not fully immune to damage. All right, so if something like this were to happen, let's find the edge. All right, so all I've done is rubbed it real hard right there. That can actually damage the card right there. It doesn't even look like much happened. But envelopes, when they, let me see if I have an envelope behind me. When they return from USPS, they get quite worn out. All right, check this out. So this is one I have not opened, and take a look at it. That's because these go through these really rough mechanical machines made out of metal, and they don't give 2 craps about, that's the first important thing you gotta learn about shipping. They don't give 2 craps about whether or not your item is damaged. They really do not. These guys get paid almost minimum wage to handle millions of packages, and they do not even think twice about your item. The workers are judged by how fast they go, so they don't care at all. Now we rub this which side do we rub it on? I don't remember. The point is, even with this hard plastic top loader, you can damage a card if it rubs. There we go. If it rubs incorrectly, you'll damage a card inside. So you can damage a card easily. And that's why some people, what they will do before they ship this, they will wrap it in a piece of paper. Do I have a piece of paper? I don't have a piece of paper. So they'll wrap it in like a piece of paper to give it additional protection, and then they stuff it in the envelope. That will help a little bit, but all you have to do is remember that it's always at risk in the envelope. Why would you ship in an envelope then? It's incredibly cheap. This is 55 cents, and it's just much cheaper than shipping first class, which is the next step. The downsides to the envelope, risk that it does show up damage, and probably the second one is that there's no tracking number, so if it gets lost, it's just gone. If it's not lost, it actually arrives to the buyer, and they decide they want to steal from you. They just claim they never received it, and you have no evidence that they didn't. So those are the 2 problems: theft and getting damaged. I would only use a white envelope with a stamp with a buyer that I trust, or with a low-cost card that you can easily replace if they're dishonest. Which, by the way, they never should be. Dishonesty is bad. Okay, so that's shipping with the white envelope with the stamp. But let's say you have a few cards to ship. Let's say your item that you're shipping looks more like this, because there's a few items going out. Or let's say you have a PSA card to ship. How do you ship it then? Your next step is to use the first class option. So first class is a very common way to ship small packages. It's uniquely cheap with the USPS, so it's uniquely cheap. And so you'll be using first class to ship small items all the time. The first thing I have to say is when you've reached this point, what you need is a card sandwich, a cardboard sandwich. Let me show you what a cardboard sandwich is. Cardboard sandwiches look like this. It's two sturdy pieces of cardboard. You know, the thicker the better. You place your cards in the middle, and you close it up. And then what you do is you just you close these ends. You want to put a little bit of pressure on the card, not too much. Put a little pressure on the sides using your tape. You can see this is an old sandwich. I've already cut it open. You can see there was tape on the sides. And so this cardboard sandwich adds already a huge layer of defense for the cards. Think of it like a top loader, but now a cardboard top loader. After that, after you've gotten this cardboard sandwich going, you could take your envelope. Let's see if I can find one. Here we go. Take your envelope. This is a padded envelope, so you got to buy one of these. You can also find these all at Walmart. They're all at Walmart. Just go to their shipping supplies area. Seal it up, and now the package is ready to ship. You put your name right, well, not your name. You'll print out a label. Typically, you'll print out a label through eBay. If you can't print a label through eBay, you can actually print a label through the USPS store online. If you don't want to do that, if you want to do high volume shipping, I actually use software from stamps.com. I should have told Stamps to sponsor the video. Well, I'm not sure how many views this will get. Anyways, let me tell you what this guy did not do. This guy did not put his PSA card into a sandwich like this. He just slipped it into the bag, and it wasn't enough defense, and it cracked. So I really feel bad for this seller because I'm going to tell him he has to pay for this crack now, and I'll win immediately on eBay. And I already did, actually. I already contacted him and opened a case, and eBay immediately sided with me. So you're the seller. You want to make sure this really does not happen because you're the one who will suffer. Not the buyer. The seller will suffer. Now, this cardboard sandwich is nice. Let's say you were shipping something real valuable. Ooh, real valuable. This card is probably worth about $1,500. And now, you know, if this were to crack, you're going to lose some serious money now. First of all, because you might be shipping it with insurance in case it goes missing or stolen. You might be shipping it with a more expensive shipping method, like maybe you're using priority mail. And it's just, you really don't want anything to go wrong with this at all. This is real expensive. So, do we just put it into a sandwich like this one? Let's see, let's move these out of the way. Sandwich time. Slip it into an envelope, we're done? Hell no. You want to make sure this has some serious protection. So let me show you what a small priority mailbox looks like. And I don't even know if this would really satisfy me, because the truth is, a card like that, Charizard, is, you know, at $1,500, if you lose that, it would take you so long to replace all that lost money. But here's maybe your first option. This is a small flat rate priority mail box. USPS gives these out for free. In fact, it gives all of its priority mailboxes out for free, so you don't have to pay for these. But anyways, you get these for free, and what you could do, after you sandwich this up, you could then wrap it in bubble wrap. So here's some bubble wrap. You can buy bubble wrap at Walmart. You can find it in a trash can somewhere. Just go looking for your whatever you bought last on Amazon, right? Right. So you can put it in some bubble wrap up to the point. Let me not knock this camera over. Up to the point that it still fits in here, and then you cram it in here and label it up. That'll cost you. Actually, I don't know what that costs. Like $8 maybe, because I never used these, to be honest. Another thing you could do is, you're not supposed to do this, but you can just use this as a form of padding. So wrap this up in bubble wrap, stuff it in here, seal it up. You don't have to seal it up too tight because this is just more packing. So it's in here, and what we're going to do is a technique where you use double boxes, and this is very safe. This is probably the safest method, is the double box. So let me grab another USPS box if I can find one laying around. Give me one moment, I'll go grab one. Okay, so after we have that smaller box finished, we're just using that as padding. You're not really supposed to do that. You're supposed to actually ship with it. That's why they give it out for free. But I mean, technically, you'll still be using their service. So you put it in there, and then you put it in another box. See what I'm doing here? So before you put it into the second box, you will pad this box too. So you'll put this, bubble wrap on the bottom. this box inside of here, bubble wrap on the top and the sides, and then you'll seal this up. And that's double boxing it. It's probably the safest way to ship a card. Now, this box is larger and it'll cost more money to ship the item. This will cost like $15 to $18 depending on what type of priority box you use. Usually the smaller the cheaper. But yeah, that is the safest way to ship a card. So if you're shipping a card, let's say it costs $500 and you can't be asked to spend $15 on shipping, you're just asking to lose your $500. Really, you are. You're just asking for the card to be cracked. So if you're, I don't know, if you're shipping like, let's say 30, 40, maybe even $100 of cards, you probably don't need to be so concerned about all the packing and all that. But anything over $100, why wouldn't you take the extra step and ship it properly? Because if it breaks, that's you, the seller, that's going to lose all that money. Okay, so I've shown you a proper example of how to pack the cards. Put this Charizard back out here. You know, there's a variety of methods you can use, and really just remember the concept that the idea of proper shipping is that your item needs to arrive in the exact same condition that you sent it out at, right? The buyer expects, especially with raw cards that have been ungraded, he's not buying this because he's going to put this in a folder. He's buying this because he's going to grade it. It needs to be the exact same condition he saw it in the photo. And make sure your photos are clear about scratches on the card, bends in the card, dings in the card, because if those pictures aren't clear and it arrives and it's obvious it has dings and bends, he's going to claim that it arrived damaged or that you falsely advertised the card, which would be accurate. You did. So it's really important that you communicate what you're selling and you ship it really well. All right, I'll show you some other things I do. This is a technique for shipping a card that you want extra padding for very easily. This is a large bubble wrap, and large bubble wraps are valuable because they're flexible. So if you can ship an item first class, you will always save money with first class shipping. Priority mail typically is, well, first of all, first class only counts toward the first pound. You're not allowed to use first class after a pound. So at that point, you'll be swapping to priority either way. But let's say you had a bag and it was like 14 ounces heavy, but it was really thick, like this one. So this bag, this is one of the people who opened up cards on the live stream. It's full of really nice cards. Look at that. So these cards, when you add them together, they start to be worth a lot of money. And so this is like, it could be like $400, $500 of cards in here, especially if he's wanting to grade it and he's thinking about the actual grade value of the cards rather than just the raw value. Well, after we've put all the appropriate defense on the card, it could be time to wrap it up inside one of these big bubble wrappers. So this is another sandwich. Well, let me cut the bottom of it so that it opens properly. Okay, another sandwich. Place that there. We want to make sure that we don't actually bend the cards with our sandwich. All right, so the sandwich has to be the right thickness. All right, so I just bent that into the correct thickness. See, no pressure on the card. You put some pressure, but you don't want to bend the edges of the card. Very important. That's pretty good. So we would probably tape this shut. We would tape this end shut, tape this end shut. And now all it needs is really good padding. I'll place it in here, all the way to the end of the bag. So I'm holding it in my hand now. And in order to give this lots of defense, I wrap it. Now look what that's done. That's given it multiple layers of bubble wrap defense. And then the sticker will hold it all together, and it's ready for a first class label. Because this whole bag weighs less than a pound, although it's getting very close to a pound, it's still cheaper to ship first class. So we're not going to use a priority mailbox. We're not allowed, yeah, I said that right. We're not allowed to use a priority mailbox if we're shipping first class. We have to use an envelope, and this large envelope allows me to quickly give some valuable package lots of protection. Label goes right there. So that's one of my shipping strategies. The problem is these large bubble wrap envelopes, they start to get a little bit expensive. Also, be sure you don't get too large of an envelope. There are size limits for first class packages, thickness, length, width, right? So anyways, we would seal that up and put it right there, and it'd be good to go. So that's just a technique for shipping a slightly larger package that's going to go first class. I feel like when the packages get thicker, they get a little more complicated to ship, and this is a very simple method of shipping. You can see how the flexibility is what made it so easy. right? All right, but then you'd have to splurge a little bit. You'd have to buy those slightly more expensive large bubble wrap envelopes. And you should probably be able to find these at your local shipping store or even at Walmart. Actually, I've never gone shopping at Walmart for those in particular. I actually bought those off of eBay. I'm trying to think if there's any other thing I need to say to you about shipping. Probably the last thing is, you know, if you need to ship something real heavy, like let's say you've got this huge wall of Pokemon cards and you need to ship something heavy like that. Picking out one of these priority mailboxes and stuffing it with those cards is the cheapest method of shipping, because in that case, they don't actually weigh those boxes. The priority mailboxes, for them, is about size. Everything needs to fit into the box, and that's all that matters. The weight doesn't matter. So they will charge you the same price no matter what for those priority mail boxes. And they have like small, medium, large, or I don't think they call it large. They just call it a regular priority mail flat rate box. Then they have like regional boxes A and B, and those are about distance. They're still not about weight, they're about distance. So it's something you can play around with at your local post office or even online using the buyer's address to find out which box is cheapest for you. But you have to be careful too, because some of those regional flat rate boxes are there's different sizes, so they might not be large enough to ship your item. All right, so hopefully that was informative. You've seen how to protect the cards, you've seen white envelope with the stamp, you've seen first class, you've seen the sandwich, you know about top loaders, you know about penny sleeves. You know, in a very, 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 very worst case scenario, let's say you absolutely cannot get penny sleeves. Probably I should have mentioned this earlier. You absolutely cannot get penny sleeves. You can use a Ziploc baggie. A Ziploc baggie will be very similar to a penny sleeve. Just whatever you do, don't hurt the card, okay, while you're using these. This is what a sandwich baggie looks like. It's made out of the same material as a penny sleeve. It's just much larger and a little less rigid. But it does the same job of keeping dust out of here and allowing the user to move the card around without actually touching the card. Very important. So you could do a little sandwich bag if you need to. This is what the sandwich bag looks like. It's just something from Walmart, 200 bags sandwich. So there you go. If you guys found this informative, be sure to hit the like button, consider sharing it, and especially if you're buying cards from somebody with low feedback, or you're just buying an especially expensive card and you want to make sure that it's shipped properly, you might save a link to this video in your in your folders or wherever you save stuff, and when you buy something, just drop them this link so that they get some tips. Again, a lot of big sellers already know most of this, but somebody who's new to shipping Pokemon cards, this video will save them from ruining their own card shipping it to you. Or if you receive a card and it's not in the same condition as the image, you need to go on eBay or PayPal. By the way, PayPal does it too, and you need to open up a dispute, and the dispute will almost always go in your favor. I've never had a single dispute not end in my favor. It always ends in my favor. So you just dispute the item as not as advertised, and they'll be like, cha-ching, there you go, there's your money back. And you know, what'll happen is eBay or PayPal, they'll make you print out a return label. Who pays for the return label? The seller does. So if you're the seller listening, you're going to lose your card, and you're going to pay for return shipping too. It's really bad. So make sure your cards are properly shipped. All right, I'm going to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.